and welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. This is 2024 Best of and Unheard Bits, Part 4. In this episode, you will hear some of our favorite moments, plus some bits that didn't quite make the initial airings. Joining me on this episode are Jeff Hyson, Gina Brown, Polite Kitty, Chip Jones, Joshua Postel, Richard Ojeda, Tiffany Norton, and Jess Feeney. Well, in case you haven't noticed, a lot has happened since we were last with you this past June. There was the debate between Biden and Trump on CNN, who called its debate between Biden and Trump two very different visions of our country's future. That's an understatement, considering Trump's vision has us all in dissident camps as gaudy as his golf clubs. Of course, the media's reaction to the debate was tone deaf, as is par for the course. In addition to the hour of coverage of Biden's grasp on reality hosted by Katie Tur, there was the coverage of Biden's age and mental acuity anchored by Andrea Mitchell. I don't want to say that Andrea Mitchell's coverage was disastrous, but it's bad when the anchor nods off on the air more than her target audience. And then, of course, there was the Trump assassination attempt. For a while, it was the only story covered on all the news networks that weekend. As grim as the situation was, it did have one unintended benefit. It pushed the Hawk Twa girl off trending on social media. As a result of Trump getting shot, the head of the United States Secret Service resigned. I'd say it's an appropriate punishment for allowing a political rally to be less safe than a Ted Nugent concert. If there's one person who has to feel inadequate about this, it must be George W. Bush. I believe he probably looked at that incident and went, "What, all I got was a shoe?" This year, the designers of the Republican National Convention's website accidentally put an image of Ho Chi Minh City instead of Milwaukee, where the convention was held. It's appropriate considering Donald Trump wouldn't necessarily mind having his convention in the same country where John McCain was tortured.
God.
It was at the Republican convention where Trump chose Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate. To me, J.D. Vance looks like his only qualification is that he looks like Don Jr., but there's a campaign sign with his name on it so that Trump can remember it. J.D. Vance looks like he could pose for the Uncle Sam poster, except instead of asking you to join the military, he would invite you to join his deportation force. Former British Prime Minister Liz Truss attended the Republican convention. That's very appropriate, considering that a head tilt the previous weekend kept Donald Trump's head from turning into molding lettuce. I'm going to catch some shit for that one.
Oh, yeah.
The convention, having taken place only days after Trump was shot, he was seen wearing a bandage on his ear. I think it would have made a more celebratory event if he ripped off the bandage and soaked the attendees like Mr. Splash at a Baltimore Orioles game. The first presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump took place last week. The debate was held on ABC and took a decidedly different tact when the network's moderators, David Muir and Lindsay Davis, fact-checked Donald Trump at several points throughout the proceedings. In this climate, that passes for being a groundbreaking moment in journalism, since it made other news networks go, "Oh, shit, right, this is what we're supposed to be doing." Even the New York Times took notice. To start the debate, Kamala Harris went across the stage to shake Trump's hand, which is risky in this climate, as the mainstream news media can be quick to report Harris invades Trump's personal space, makes no plans to let up. In retrospect, introducing herself to Trump is a smart move for Harris, as Trump keeps thinking she's Hillary Clinton. In fact, Trump has probably forgotten Harris's name so many times, she must think she's one of his kids. Mark Robinson, the Republican running for governor of North Carolina, was found to have commented on posts on a porn website. This is according to CNN. On one of these posts, he proclaimed, "I'm a black Nazi," in all caps. All caps is the surefire way to reassure someone, yes, I'm definitely racist. Following the news, the campaign had a staff shakeup. They're getting some new people in charge of the campaign, and they're even rebranding themselves with a new slogan: Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Money Shot.
Gosh.
Mark Robinson's alleged username on the site was Mini Soldier, which is a name he likely picked up after getting turned on by small penis humiliation videos. Of course, true to MAGA form, the word soldier was misspelled. A lot of Republicans are starting to distance themselves from Mark Robinson. The Republican Governors Association has said they will no longer air ads in that state supporting him. Of course, there are a lot of reasons not to support Mark Robinson, but it's odd that the final straw for the RGA was making an adult website not fun. To make sure the media narrative is consistent, news networks seem to have an unspoken agreement with each other about how to cover candidates of a particular party. In this clip, we can see an example of how ABC News treats the coverage of a post-debate Biden speech.
This is a watch party afterwards. President Biden, the First Lady, Jill Biden. We knew that Jill Biden had traveled to Atlanta with the president. Family not allowed in that room. Let's listen. Let's listen for a moment.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lied! Yes.
The First Lady supporting her husband as you would expect she would. The campaign has been pressed tonight about the president's performance, and Mary, I'll let you continue here.
I think they were hoping that tonight would put to rest all of these continued. Let's listen into the president.
Yeah, let's do it.
You've been here the whole time. I see it. I see that patch here. Look, folks, what's going to happen over the next couple of days is they're going to be out there fact checking all the things he said. I can't think of one thing he said that was true. No, I'm not being facetious. But look,
so this would seem the strategy. That's the president, obviously the First Lady, talking about the fact checking in the days ahead.
In order to beat him, you're the
president telling his supporters, "I need you," and he does going into November. Certainly after these presidential debates, the first of which we all witnessed here tonight.
I mean, how stupid does the media think we are? David Muir is literally telling us like every single thing he's doing. Like, that's not reporting on anything. He's walking around the stage. He's emitting words into a microphone. The words are coming out over the public address system. People are cheering, and we're trying to figure out what this means for the campaign.
And that is Jill. That's his wife. I'm not sure you know. She's the First Lady.
They're both breathing.
They are breathing.
Orders are cheering.
He's like the Joe Madden of.
I was stuck on Tammy Pretty, the DJ. Were you stuck on that?
The Pretty Tammy DJ.
What is this?
Pretty Tammy.
I got stuck there, and I was like, "What? What is that?" I mean, good product placement.
If you're going to commentate on someone, commentate on Pretty Tammy the DJ. Like, I'd like to know more about,
who's surprisingly absent.
Right.
What's interesting, though, to me is how irrelevant the mainstream media has become, and all they're doing is saying, "Well, she needs to speak to the press." Well, she speaks to a lot of people every day. She needs to do an interview. She needs to do more interviews. Even at a pompous, irrelevant ass like Chuck Todd saying she needs to be sitting for an hour of interviews every week. No, she doesn't. She needs to be campaigning. She doesn't need to be sitting there talking to the press, which is doing everything it can to get Trump back in office. Look how bad the Times has gotten. If not for Wordle, the Times would go out of business. Look at what the Washington Post is doing. They had with their both sides coverage.
I will tell you that I was so disappointed in the fact that when they had the debate with President Biden against Donald Trump, everybody gave President Biden all this garbage because of the first 30 minutes. He had a rough 30 minutes. And then the rest of the next hour, he answered the questions honestly. But Donald Trump never told one truth. And I was really mad because Jake Tapper did nothing. They didn't, no fact checking whatsoever. You gave Donald Trump a pass. If you don't fact check him, his followers think that he's telling the truth. And they still think that he's telling the truth because nobody fact checks him. And it's so sad when we watched Joe Biden get literally attacked across the news, but yet the one news agency said, hey, but at least he told the truth. Donald Trump told a lie every 90 seconds. It's so sad that they did that to President Biden.
I know David Muir didn't even say that in his cover. He didn't say President Biden talking about how he told the truth. He didn't even say that.
No.
Can I circle back, Tom?
Yeah.
I just want to point out that Pretty Tammy the DJ is in Atlanta. She's 52 and living her doggone dreams.
You know what? Unless she wants to pay for advertising, let's just move on. All right. I don't recommend looking up J.D. Vance or any of his speeches or interviews. Suffice it to say that J.D. Vance is the demon that would pop up if you summoned him over a packet of fine-cut skull. If it gets bad for J.D. Vance, he may simply score fentanyl patches and mix them in his Diet Mountain Dew like a Mio packet. Of course, he's such an asshole that a drug dealer would look at him and go, fuck off, you don't need any of this shit. There is a rumor about J.D. Vance's activities with a couch, and while we have to say for the record, Snopes and the Associated Press have disproven that anecdote, I, for one, heard about the latex glove and the couch and thought, he's my age, so yeah, that's actually par for the course. In the meantime, he also knows how to wax nostalgic about his beloved relatives, as this excerpt from his convention speech demonstrates.
Now, I was lucky. Despite the closing factories and the growing addiction in towns like mine, in my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. She was an old woman who could barely walk, but she was tough as nails. I called her Mamaw, the name we hillbillies gave to our grandmothers. Mamaw raised me as my mother struggled with addiction. Mamaw was in so many ways a woman of contradiction. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the F word. I'm not kidding. She could make a sailor blush. Now, she once told me, when she found out that I was spending too much time with a local kid who was known for dealing drugs, that if I ever hung out with that kid again, she would run him over with her car. That's true. And she said, JD, no one will ever find out about it.
Because we all have that one relative, who threatens vehicular homicides, and we hang out with that one kid who's just not right in the head.
That is a snapshot of the Republican Party, save an unborn child, but if they're old enough to walk, you can run them over. That's it.
I'm from New York. The old school mafia used to be a little more terrifying than that. But at least they did it with flair, panache.
Right.
It was usually broken legs. You got dumped in a meat grinder, dumped out by Kennedy Airport.
I think probably most attempts at murder and running somebody over in New York They don't work out because suddenly somebody sees, oh, look, a spot opened up. Let's park the car. Forget that. We'll shoot the guy.
Now, I will say that the one thing they have in common is discretion when it comes to the Republicans, right? We're all supposed to hide everything that they're doing. So even Meemaw got it right. Discreet.
And here's the thing, Grandma was a terrible mother. That's why his mother was messed up. Like, why is she the example and your mom's not? Your mom was a nurse. You know, your mom was educated. She got addicted to drugs after an injury, right? Like, and like, you know, started taking them because she had access to them because she was a nurse. It's like, you raised her, and then everybody's throwing mom under the bus. Mom's been sober for 10 years, and they wheel her out like, see, there she is. She's a real piece of shit. Thank God for Grandma. Grandma takes care of business. She just runs over the enemies of the family.
That's the beauty of that whole thing.
Either way, what's that?
They're not even trying to hide that they're low rent pieces of shit anymore.
Another one of the speakers at the Republican convention was West Virginia Governor and Senate candidate Jim Justice, the former conservative Democrat turned Republican, also known as always a Republican. In this clip, we see Jim Justice bring out a special guest for all the convention delegates to see.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Justice, and I'm from West Virginia. And I absolutely believe with all my soul we've got the greatest people in the world in West Virginia. And we want you to come and try us out someday. With all that being said, I know that a lot of you want to meet my little buddy. So if Baby Doll could come on out here.
Dog is like, what are you doing to me?
Now, as the world watches, you didn't really expect that, did you?
You thought I was, when I said I was gonna show you my little buddy, I was gonna pull my pocket.
Yeah, Baby Doll.
That's the way we do it in West Virginia.
I thought he was going to pull out more than just that. I'm not even go down that road because it's disturbing.
That's only half a show. Where's the pony? Where's the pony?
I just want to say that's living proof that owners and dogs do look alike.
That's right.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe it, but before he adopted that dog was svelte. He looked like a greyhound, and then now look at him.
Dog. He was a fitness dog. He was an influencer
That's
dog.
right.
And then, he got trapped.
That dog looked like, why are you doing that?
He was a trophy. He was a trophy dog, and
He was
now
a trophy dog. You look at him.
he's just gone.
He just let himself go. He just let himself go.
And I'm just like, that dog probably took a nice.
That's right.
If the dog would have made a doo-doo on the stage, that would have been fantastic. Because did they have extra interns for the dog?
I don't know.
That interns on dogs.
We should probably pause for a moment and be circumspect because he's from West Virginia. That may be his wife. You know, that could.
Newsmax's efforts to influence the country doesn't stop with their post-debate coverage, but in their failed attempts to interact with real people, as we can see in these series of on-the-street interviews in, of all places, New York City.
The point of any debate is to move the needle for undecided voters, and the only way to find out if it actually worked is to go out and ask, because the AP claimed that voters in New York City think Kamala Harris won, but you know what? I don't believe them. So I went out, found out for myself. It's exactly what we did.
What was your favorite policy of hers?
Favorite policy, not being Donald Trump, not trying to attempt a coup.
Who did you favor?
Harris.
Really? What was your favorite policy about hers?
Everything that she had to say was absolutely wonderful.
Well, you got somebody who in office who says she's going to do this and that when she gets elected. She's in office already.
Cut that
She's in office. I used to be a Democrat, not anymore.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Come on, man. I gotta put this on TV. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. No. I apologize. Way better. Fake news. Newsmax suck.
I love how like the guy who cursed on TV was more apologetic. than the guy he just walked right by.
Right.
And you can just see
if they're not using "Hey, Newsmax sucks" in their advertisement day in and day out, I think they need a new company.
And they even had the lady with the American flag shirt on. They said as soon as she started talking about how much she loved Kamala Harris, like you could tell the camera guy or the producer is going to be thinking, I am so fucking toast right now. I'm getting fired by Newsmax and I will never get a job anywhere else again.
So, oh my gosh, I want to just jump in. I'm so sorry, Tom. So I've done radio for a long time, right? And we used to have to do street bits where you got to just go find someone and like talk to them, right? I know what this guy did. The producer threw the camera guy, whatever his name was, Chesticles McGee or whatever the hell that big old guy was. He saw the lady in the red, white, and blue and the stars and stripes. Now, as Gina, I don't want to coerce you into an answer, but I have been scared to death to wear red, white, and blue for the last 8 years. And I love Tommy Hilfiger. I love preppy. And I can't wear my nice nautical themed outfits without being accused of being a Republican. He saw her dressed like that in a suit. That was a Trump supporter. Yeah. But guess what? We're back.
We're taking the flag back. Now, I'm not inclined to wear a flag of any sort, but we are taking that flag back. And the best, I want to encourage you to wear your nautical sweaters and cuteness. Just get a Harris Waltz hat.
Okay. So does that mean Tom and I can wear Izod again? Is that what it is?
You can.
Alligators out of the closet, baby.
Trump referred to one of the Biden-Harris policy points as "Run, Spot, Run," which coincidentally is now the Trump campaign's new slogan, with the story of immigrants eating dogs and cats is being discussed on the news.
Oh.
Much has been made of the now disproven Trump claim, but the full impact of the on-the-spot reaction to such a claim can be seen in this video of a debate watch party with Harris voters in Pennsylvania.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people and it's a shame.
Tiffany, she had on one of your scarves, the woman, a little nautical scarf.
Yes, we're taking nautical looks back. Yes.
We're taking everything back, starting with the Kohl's clearance rack.
Yes. I have some Kohl's cash. If anybody wants to do a deal.
I love that they just roared. And I mean, the guys in the back were like over on their stomachs. Like, it's just because that's how ridiculous it sounds.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the visual segment of that. You can see the video on YouTube, but those kids, and I think that they were either in another room or in a separate part of like wherever they were watching, or maybe it was a different party altogether, but they acted like that "oh snap" gif have that people posted is basically what it was.
Yeah. Wow.
They're eating the dogs.
Well, I love he never sounds like a New Yorker until he said that. The dogs.
The dogs.
Eating the
dogs. When he says human and huge, then he sounds like a New Yorker.
Yeah.
That's true. You're right.
But that's
it. He does his Mike Myers doing Liz Taylor. They're eating the dogs.
Actually, I think he's from Jersey. So actually, some of this makes more sense when you put it in that context.
Is Donald Trump's penchant for butchering the English language contagious? You bet. In fact, it seems to be a prerequisite to show one's support for the former president, as we can see in this baffling exchange with one of his supporters.
Do your own research. Just don't hear speculation.
Do you know Mike Lindell?
Yes.
And do you
I
like
love
him?
the man to death, but I'm so sick of seeing his commercials.
Oh, right. Okay. So one of the things, he's a good example to me of this phenomenon that I see a lot in what would be called conspiracy theorist circles is making a bold prediction. Trump's going to become president by this period of time. It doesn't happen. And then I get confused because the followers don't stop trusting him. Mike Lindell has predicted just around the corner Trump's going to be by this August, whatever, then this, and that hasn't happened. I agree. And why doesn't that cause you not to support them and think, oh, maybe what they're selling me is dishonest?
Things have, they have channels they have to go through, and things have to happen in a certain way to happen. So, all right, I'm sorry. On the spot.
Oh,
I don't even understand what happened just now.
It's nice when you actually go ahead and get to witness the visible symptoms of a stroke as they happen.
I was reading an article on how to avoid falling for a bot on like online dating websites. And what you're supposed to do is ask a double negative question if you think you're dealing with an AI bot because they can't handle it.
Oh, how funny.
You just saw that happen in a human.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I see these interviews, I just kind of feel bad because it's like, you're gonna break them. You're gonna break this dude's brain. Like, I guess, and it sucks because it's like, how else do you really get, I mean, God willing, change people's minds? And I think asking questions is like one of the best ways to go about that. So it just sucks when it kind of goes to what the guy was asking. Like, he's like, well, if this person's lying right in front of your face, why don't you stop supporting them? And he just doesn't really know. And because it doesn't matter. If
you're a follower of a cult, you don't see what's in front of you. And that's a really good example. Like if somebody was putting together a thing, you may be a cult member if boom, just throw a bunch of them in. Yeah. I don't feel bad for them, Jess. They made their beds.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. What's her face?
But it's like it's just like a dumb animal. I feel bad saying it, but it's just like
again, this is the podcast on which to say it.
Okay, you're right. I just their poor little tiny brains. I just can't even imagine. I imagine that they live much of their lives confused.
They're poor little mini soldiers.
That too. I'm sure they got a lot of that going on as well.
But I imagine it's also really simple because, think about if you don't have to think for yourself and you just take the word of somebody else and you just follow along. How simple is that? Like maybe we're the ones who make our lives super complicated by using our own brain. That hurts.
Yeah.
In conclusion, this past 4th of July, Alan Ray McGraw, a father from Summerville, South Carolina, died after attempting to shoot fireworks out of his Uncle Sam hat while draped in a suit designed like the American flag. If only there was a sign as to the direction this country is going. Why do I bring this up? In a way, we are all destined to be Alan Ray McGraw, dancing ourselves away into oblivion, either by being blown up by a firework or having our insides consumed by wild animals in the Roman Colosseum-style death matches set up under the Project 2041 initiative under the eternal presidency of the cryogenically frozen head of Donald Trump, with the only memorial to our existence being a viral video on Reddit. God bless America. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Jeff Hyson, Gina Brown, Polite Kitty, Chip Jones, Joshua Postel, Richard Ojeda, Tiffany Norton, and Jess Feeney. Theme music composed and arranged by Jeroen van den Hurck. Executive producers Tom Myers, Matt Connarton for ipmNation, and Eddie Carson for Odyssey Radio. Please leave a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Tom Myers, for access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, and bonus clips. And if you're listening to this episode on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for listening, and please visit tommyers.us.